You want your optics to be tough. You want them to be able to take anything. Well, Aimpoint optics, I think that you guys have some proof here. I'm here with Keith Weaver from Aimpoint, and one of the best ways to test an optic is to just give it out to millions of people and see what happens, right?
That's right, Ryan. Companies like to talk about how durable their products are, but nothing is more of a testament than the real deal, and that's what we have here today. We have these dramatic real-life examples that came back from customers that have sustained just unbelievable damage, yet all of these sights that we have here today still function, still shoot, we can still accurately send rounds downrange.
So you can still see the dot, you can still hit targets with these?
Absolutely. Even though these are pierced, gouged, missing rear lenses in some cases, and knobs, we can still shoot these.
Well, let's talk about what's happened with some of these. What is the deal with this optic? I can see
this particular sight came back from Iraq. Soldier sent this in. This is a round from an AK-47. The soldier was holding his rifle low ready, and he believes that this may have actually saved his life with the round deflecting off of the sight.
And that's exactly what it did. It just bounced off the sight.
Yep, and even though you can see that it took the rear lens out,
right,
you can still see the dot because we only need the front lens to reflect the light. So you can still pick up your dot.
Oh yeah, I mean, I see the dot right there.
It's just an LED, not a laser, so it's still safe to your eye. You can still shoot it, and we can still send rounds downrange.
That is so cool. Okay, what about this one?
This particular Comp M took some shrapnel, and it doesn't look real substantial, but you can see that even though this hole's small here, it pierced all the way through the body of this sight. Now, Aimpoints are made from 70-75 T6 aluminum alloy, so it's tough stuff, and pierced all the way through. But despite that, this is still a fully functioning optic. We can still shoot rounds down range.
Yeah, it's got a hole in it, but I can still see the red dot in there. Jeez. Okay, what about this one?
This sight was a motorcycle accident. It was a law enforcement motorcycle cop. Carbine was on the side of the bike, laid it down, skid for some distance on the pavement, removed some of the metal, but the sight held up, still functions.
Grind it down at 70 miles an hour. Jeez.
Yep, still works.
Okay, and this one?
This is an interesting one. This sight was attached to a carbine as well, ended up on the highway, run over by traffic for several hours, probably some tractor trailers. Did some pretty substantial damage. You can see it actually did crush the tube to an extent.
Oh yeah.
But it's super strong, held up. Even though the knob's gone, sight's still on, still shoots.
Jeez, that's amazing. Okay, now this one is pretty dramatic.
Yes, this is obviously some pretty substantial damage here. This was an IED in Iraq.
Wow.
Completely mangled the back of the switch housing here, actually removed the knob and part of the switch. I don't even know how this thing's still working, but because there's enough of the switch that's protected still in there, red dot's still on, still sending rounds down range. And
I mean, you can see the red dot in there, bright as day.
Yep, rear lens shattered out, doesn't matter.
Okay, and now this one is different.
Yes, even though this sight doesn't have the same visual impact that the other ones do, it doesn't look like anything's really wrong with it, but this sight was actually submerged underwater for 3 weeks when Hurricane Katrina came through. So even after all that time being submerged underwater, still works great. No water in the sight, you can still shoot it, fully functional.
Okay, and now this one, obviously, it looks pretty nasty. What happened here?
Yeah, here we have a sight that was sent in by a customer that unfortunately had a house fire. And this sight was caught up in the middle of it. You can obviously see the damage. You can see the ash on the sight. The front flip cap has actually been melted partially, so I can't even open it. But what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna not just talk about this stuff, we're actually gonna load this carbine up and shoot this house fire sight that we've remounted here. And I'm gonna do that with the front lens occluded, just to demonstrate how it can still be fired with both eyes open, even when the front lens is blocked.
That's the thing, when you have both eyes open, it just superimposes on the target and your other eye's seeing the target itself.
Exactly, because your brain's always taking two images and putting it together. In this case, one eye has the red dot, the other eye has the target, brain puts it together, I see the dot on the target, bang, round goes on target.
Well, why don't we prove it? Let's shoot this thing on target and see how it works.
Let's do it.
Well, I think that proves it. These are reliable and durable.
Yeah, so there's your proof right there. If you had any doubt that these aren't the toughest, most reliable red dot sights on the planet, there you go.
Very impressive.